Comic books, they're never centered around the villains. They all have great villains, but they're centered around the likable superhero who then must deal with the unlikable villains.
Mm-hmm. And at the best you'll get is an anti-hero like Spawn or Punisher, some of these other characters that have survived for years and years. Flaws in evolution. Your characters have to have flaws. They can't be perfect. They have to develop their characters, grow over time. You know, that's the same thing that they've done over the past 70 years. I mean, eventually Superman died, eventually Spider-Man married Mary Jane. I mean, they evolve.
It's important to admit your flaws, too. Like, for instance, I made a big mistake scheduling this meeting this particular week. But it happens. When you let your customers or your clients know about your flaws, it lets them know you're a real person, just like they are.
And it also ties back to last month when we discussed the damaging admission, where you need to, if there's a big flaw in your service or your product, you need to go ahead and just admit that up front, get it out in the open, so that people know and then trust you because, oh, well, this guy has just already told me what the problem is. You know, he's not going to rip me off. So that's the real thought about that. Now that wraps up that portion of my personality and marketing. On the back end of this discussion, I usually do a swipe and deploy. We're going to go ahead and do that, but we're going to stick with the personality and marketing theme. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a piece that I absolutely love and adore.
And by swipe and deploy, if you're not familiar with that term, we mean this is something that you can take the idea and try and mold it and use it in your own business.
So this piece is from Super Conference 2007, and it's essentially a fold-out magazine-style ad piece designed like a comic book. So you notice right away from the elements we discussed earlier, we've got character. So right down here we've got, let's see, Captain Outrageous Advertising. I believe that's Bill Glazer. The sales thing, I can't remember who exactly that was. Let's see, we've got the Speaker Man, that's Nito Cabin. And Invisa, I can't quite read her, but we've got our 5 characters, and then there's Magnetic Marketing Man, of course, Dan Kennedy. So you've already got your 5 characters displayed prominently. Dogma. What are they fighting against? They're fighting against the fear of self-doubt, insufficient implementation, and procrastination. And then 5, Fantastic 5, they had to obviously shift it to the 5 people instead of the 4. And then you'll also notice that price in the corner is 10 cents, along with that little stamp, which was exactly the same as what we saw on the 1937 Batman. So they're taking elements of this, timeless elements I might add, that people recognize, and plugging them into modern marketing. Okay, once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, a society existed where superhuman powers were as ordinary as raincoats in Seattle. Now this is a 2-page piece opening of that we kept 1 page from. It illustrates a few concepts as well. Story. Once upon a time. How many stories have we heard that begin with that? Backstory and context. In a galaxy far, far away. Society existed. So once again, they're explaining why these marketers have these superhuman marketing powers. Playing off of American pop culture themes. In a galaxy far, far away is Star Wars. Once Upon a Time has been popular in the Shrek movies recently. So they're incorporating many elements to add as much personality into this piece, and it allows them to connect with all kinds of generations of people even. Here we have what would a super conference be without a super guarantee. Full 100% refund of your fee, triple your registration fee back, all kinds of really powerful guarantee stuff in there. And essentially what they're guaranteeing is a miracle. Guaranteed miracles. And if you read that copy, it speaks pretty much to that effect. What's up with that C anyways? Super conference. Now this is slightly unrelated, but I wanted to mention it anyways. Right there, that C, when we do our web design stuff, like if we do a card with our web address on it, it's always like, for instance, direct results online, the D, the R, and the O are capitalized. It makes it much easier to read the website address. You can tell what the website address says quicker. And often, the way that they're worded, it could look like it's different words than you mean it to say because nothing's capitalized.
If you're using all small.
Yeah. And very few people use this technique. I don't know why. I've seen it once or twice on TV. We've been using it for 6-7 years. So anytime you do a web address or anything like that, email address, I would capitalize your name or letters or anything that's related to that so that it's easier to read.
Like each individual word, it makes no difference when you're typing it in the browser, you're still gonna go to the website.
Exactly.
So it won't interfere with anything that your customers are doing, but it's gonna make it a million times easier to read. We've probably all seen web addresses on the back of somebody's car and you're looking at it going, what does that say? So,
Exactly. You want to be as clear as possible. Okay, what are people saying about last year's super conference? Once again, testimonials. You can't have enough of them. You always need to be using testimonials. Then we have a registration form here. You can see once again, we've got character put into each of the corners. You'll notice, much like what I did up here. I also like the use of copy doodles. Free here to show the value. And one important thing to notice, this is not an order form. It is a registration form. It can be an enrollment form, a fast action form, but never an order form. Order forms imply that you need to pay, you need to lose something. So anytime, once again coming back to proprietary language. And that concludes that portion. Now, since I know you all have large comic book collections at home and are waiting to go back home and read them, I thought I would go ahead and provide you with some comics. There you go, and inside of there is also some recommended resources. You go ahead and check out. Go. There's some books that I highly recommend reading, as well as some series, some videos, and things of that nature. If you're got the time, I know it might be difficult, but Stephen King, if you don't have time to read him, if you don't read him, you should at least try and study his technique. On Writing, fabulous book.
yeah, that's available in any bookstore here in town in the nonfiction section.
And that's a book that Dan Kennedy highly recommends as well.
Nobody really writes better characters than Stephen King. He gets kind of labeled as a horror writer. I've personally read every book he's ever written. He's not a horror writer, he's a storyteller.
Yeah.
He's written a couple scary stories over the years. But as far as the character study and character involvement in creating characters, he's a master.
And keep in mind, too, that Stephen King, few people know this, but he is a worldwide best-selling author of over 50 books. So the man knows a little something about writing characters. And that concludes my portion of the meeting tonight. Now, of course, if there are any other questions you guys have, or there's plenty of food still back there, if you'd like to hang out, pick our brains, we're going to be here.